The blonde gunsmith's hands trembled, not from fear, but from restraint. The blonde gunsmith's hands trembled, not from fear, but from restraint. Laughter crackled across Fort Bragg's elite range as Sarah Mitchell knelt beside the jammed M4. "Want us to color code the instructions, sweetheart?" a voice mocked. She didn't flinch, not even when Master Sergeant Coleman leaned in, voice dripping venom. "Maybe you're better off back in the armory, building toys." Then she pulled something from her vest. A worn patch, Delta Force insignia. Coleman froze. The laughter stopped. Because only one woman had ever served Black Ops with that patch, and she vanished 5 years ago. So who the hell is Sarah Mitchell, and why is a ghost fixing their weapons? Sarah doesn't flinch. She doesn't look up. Her hands move steadily, collecting each tool with the same careful attention she'd give to defusing a bomb. The men continue their performance, each trying to outdo the other with increasingly cruel observations. One suggests she'd be better suited to serving coffee at the base exchange. Another wonders aloud if she got the job through some diversity quota. As Sarah reaches for a drop scope, her sleeve rides up just enough. The edge of black ink becomes visible against pale skin. Coleman is mid-sentence when he sees it, his words dying in his throat. But the moment passes too quickly. Sarah tugs the fabric back down, returns to her work. The operators haven't noticed their leader's brief hesitation. They have no idea they've been mocking the ghost of Coronado. Have you ever been judged before someone knew your story? I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments, and if you've ever faced this kind of disrespect, you'll understand what happens next. Sarah Mitchell presents herself to the world as invisible as possible. 34 years old, she dresses in oversized work clothes that hide her athletic build. Her blonde hair stays pulled back in a utilitarian ponytail. No makeup adorns her face. She speaks only when necessary, usually in technical terms about barrel wear or trigger pull weights. The other contractors at Fort Bragg have learned to work around her silence. They call her that weird contractor who never joins happy hour, not knowing that she spends those evening hours running the base perimeter. 3 miles every night, no matter the weather. 1 mile for each ghost that follows her. Her reputation rests solely on her work. When elite operators bring in weapons that others have declared beyond repair, Sarah fixes them. She can diagnose a malfunction from the sound alone. Her knowledge of ballistics rivals that of any military scientist. Yet she never boasts, never explains how she knows what she knows. The calluses on her hands tell a story she won't voice. They're in the wrong places for someone who's only ever been a gunsmith. Between her thumb and forefinger, the kind that comes from thousands of hours gripping a rifle stock. Along the edges of her palms, worn smooth from fast roping out of helicopters. On her knees, permanent reminders of countless hours in firing positions. These are the hands of someone who's lived behind a weapon, not just maintained one. 5 years ago, before she became a ghost herself, the world knew her differently. Chief Petty Officer Sarah Mitchell, callsign Ghost, served with SEAL Team 9. The nickname came from her ability to infiltrate enemy positions without detection, to eliminate threats in complete silence, to exfiltrate before anyone knew she'd been there. Naval Special Warfare Command still uses her tactical innovations in their training. She was the first woman to complete the Crucible, a 72-hour solo survival exercise that breaks most men. In Somalia, she eliminated 12 hostage takers in complete darkness using only a knife and her issued sidearm. The hostages never saw her face. 23 American contractors owe their lives to her actions in Syria, though none of them know her name. The tattoo hidden beneath her sleeve tells its own story. A custom SEAL trident unlike any other. 4 stars mark her major operations, but it's the inscription that matters most. Never forgotten. Only operators who've lost teammates in combat received this honor. Sarah's bears 3 names etched in microscopic text along the waves. Marcus Chen, David Rodriguez, James Thompson. They died because someone behind a desk made a bad call. Sarah lived because they chose to cover her retreat. She carries their memory in ink and scar tissue, in the dreams that wake her at 3 in the morning, in the 3 miles she runs at dawn. The classified operation that changed everything remains sealed in Pentagon files. Somewhere in the mountains of Afghanistan, 3 SEALs died protecting a CIA asset who turned out to be a double agent. Sarah was the only one who made it to the extraction point. She dragged Marcus's body for 2 miles before the Taliban forces made it impossible. She can still feel the weight of him, still remembers the promise she made as his blood soaked into foreign soil. The Navy offered her the highest decorations. She refused them all. Medals belong to the dead, she told them. The living just carry on. Within a week of returning stateside, she resigned her commission and disappeared. Now she ensures that no operator will ever die because their weapon failed them. It's a quiet penance, one that requires no recognition. Every rifle she services, every pistol she rebuilds, carries the weight of that promise. She tests each one, as if Marcus, David, and James will be the ones trusting their lives to it. Some mornings, when the range is empty and fog rolls across the barriers, she can almost see them standing there, watching, waiting, approving. This is why she stays silent when men like Coleman mock her. Glory belongs to the dead. The living just carry on. Master Sergeant Derek Coleman has made Sarah Mitchell his personal project. 6 feet 2 inches of muscle and misplaced pride, he believes women dilute the warrior culture. His morning briefings now include pointed comments about maintaining standards. He assigns Sarah the most humiliating tasks, cleaning latrines while other contractors work on weapons, mopping floors when high-ranking visitors arrive. Mitchell, make sure those toilets shine. That's about your speed, isn't it? The other contractors look away, afraid to risk their own positions. The operators follow Coleman's lead with small cruelties. Through it all, Sarah maintains steady silence, completing each degrading task with mechanical precision. Coleman notices something that bothers him. When Sarah does work on weapons, she handles them with an intimacy that seems wrong. Her movements are too fluid, too certain. She doesn't reference manuals. It's the difference between someone who's studied anatomy and someone who's performed surgery in the field. One morning he arrives with an SR-25 sniper rifle that's been in storage for months. "Attention everyone," he announces. "Let's have ourselves a little skills assessment. Blondie here thinks she's a weapons expert. Let's see if she can diagnose this rifle's problems." He sets the weapon on her workbench with excessive force. "Take your time, sweetheart. We know thinking isn't your strong suit." The rifle has been deliberately sabotaged with multiple failures. Sarah picks it up and her entire demeanor shifts. Without firing a shot, without even fully disassembling it, she begins her diagnosis. Gas tube bent at approximately 3 degrees, port fouling consistent with 700 rounds of steel case ammunition. Buffer spring compressed beyond specifications. Scope mount shows stress fractures. Trigger group contaminated with sand. He pauses, sets the rifle down. There's also scoring in the chamber. This weapon hasn't just been neglected, it's been abused. The range falls silent. Coleman's face reddens. She found issues he hadn't even noticed. "Lucky guesses," he manages, but his voice lacks conviction. He shifts to personal attacks. "You're one of those women who hangs around military bases, trying to feel important, playing soldier because you couldn't make it in the real world." Sarah's jaw tightens. Her left hand closes around a torque wrench with enough force to whiten her knuckles. For a moment, something dangerous flashes in her eyes. The temperature drops. Her breathing changes. Controlled, measured, the kind that precedes violence. She shifts her weight almost imperceptibly, but Coleman's instincts scream danger. The wrench in her hand becomes a weapon in her mind. 1 strike to his temple, 2 seconds to unconsciousness. Her muscle memory kicks in, calculating angles and force. The ghost awakens, and for 3 heartbeats, Coleman stands inches from death. Other operators sense the shift, primitive fear raising hackles. Then, Marcus's voice echoes in her memory. "We're better than our worst impulses, Ghost. That's what separates us from them." The moment shatters. Sarah releases the tool with visible effort, her hands shaking not from fear but from the adrenaline of a kill strike aborted. She returns to documenting the rifle's issues, but everyone felt it. Death had entered the room and chosen mercy. Lieutenant Commander James Wilson watches from across the range. Something about the contractor's diagnostic technique triggers a memory. These aren't skills taught in civilian programs, they're learned in combat. Wilson moves closer, observing details that form a pattern. Her stance maintains perfect balance. Her eyes constantly check exits. When a Black Hawk passes overhead, she flinches with the specific tension of someone who's taken fire from helicopters. The final piece falls into place when Sarah uses SEAL tactical hand signals to communicate across the noisy range. Wilson pulls out his secure phone, accessing classified databases. His search returns redacted files, but one call sign appears repeatedly. Ghost. a female SEAL who operated for 7 years, then vanished after losing 3 teammates. When Sarah reaches overhead to adjust a scope mount, her sleeve rides up. Black ink becomes visible, a SEAL trident with modifications Wilson recognizes. The wave pattern matches Operation Iron Resolve. Only 12 operators received that variant, 11 are accounted for. Wilson's hands shake as realization hits. Coleman has been systematically humiliating the ghost of Coronado. But here's the twist that changes everything. As Wilson studies Sarah more closely, he notices she's not alone in her anonymity. The range's senior armorer, a quiet man named Frank Torres, who's worked there for 3 years, suddenly catches Wilson's attention. The way Torres positions himself, always keeping Sarah in peripheral vision, always within intervention distance. When Coleman knocked over her toolbox, Torres's hand had moved to his hip. A gesture Wilson recognizes. Torres is her overwatch, another ghost protecting the ghost. Wilson's mind races as he connects dots. How many other anonymous veterans work these bases, watching over their brothers and sisters in arms? How many heroes hide in plain sight, creating invisible networks of protection? Wilson pulls up the classified file. Photos partially redacted, but stance unmistakable. Commendations fill the screen. Silver Star, Bronze Star with Valor, Purple Heart ×2. In every visible photo, the same intense eyes stare back. The same eyes now focused on weapon maintenance, while Coleman continues harassment. The commander's stomach turns as he reads her final mission report. Operation Crimson Shield. Afghanistan. 3 KIA. Chen Rodriguez Thompson. 1 survivor, Mitchell. Intelligence failure led to ambush. She reached extraction carrying 200 pounds of equipment and classified documents. Wilson remembers now. She saved his patrol from an IED outside Kandahar, appearing from nowhere to eliminate the trigger man before vanishing. "Chief Mitchell?" Wilson's voice cuts through the range noise. "Is that you?" Sarah's entire body goes rigid. Slowly, she turns to face him. Recognition flickers. The young lieutenant she pulled from a burning Humvee has become a commander. Wilson snaps to attention and renders a perfect salute. "Chief Petty Officer Mitchell saved my life in Kandahar 2019. My entire squad owes her their lives." The transformation ripples through the range like a shockwave. Other SEALs present recognize the name and snap to attention. Coleman's mouth opens and closes without sound. "What the hell is going on?" he finally manages. Wilson doesn't break his salute as he speaks. "Master Sergeant, you've been harassing Chief Mitchell, the ghost of Coronado, first woman through Hell Week, the operator who extracted 23 contractors from Syria when the Pentagon wrote them off as dead. She holds the record for confirmed kills during a single operation. She wrote the manual on urban infiltration that your team trains with." Each word lands like a physical blow. Coleman's face drains of color. Sarah stands slowly, then rolls up her left sleeve. The full tattoo emerges. The SEAL trident with 4 stars and 3 names: Marcus Chen, David Rodriguez, James Thompson. Below them, never forgotten. Every operator understands the weight of that ink. Coleman's hands shake. Young operators who join the mockery look sick. But there's no satisfaction in Sarah's expression, only profound sadness. "I came here to serve quietly, to honor those who can't." Her fingers trace the names. "Every weapon I service might bring someone home. That's all that matters now." Wilson's voice thick with shame. "Chief, I'm sorry. We failed you." Sarah's response cuts deeper than anger. "You failed them." She gestures to the tattoo. "They died believing in something bigger. They died protecting a sister who now watches their brothers act like bullies." Coleman drops to one knee. "Chief Mitchell?" She cuts him off. "I don't need apologies. Be better. Real warriors don't announce themselves. They serve, sacrifice, and ensure others can do the same." As the weight of the moment settles, Frank Torres steps forward from his position. He rolls up his own sleeve, revealing a similar SEAL trident. "Chief Mitchell isn't the only ghost here," he says quietly. "Rodriguez was my swim buddy through Bud/S. When I heard she was working here, I transferred. Someone had to watch her 6. The revelation sends another shock through the assembled operators. How many ghosts walk among them, silently protecting each other? Sarah and Torres exchange a look that speaks volumes, the unbreakable bond of those who've lost everything but each other. Then comes the second twist that no one expects. Coleman, still on one knee, looks up with tears streaming down his face. "Thompson," he whispers. "James Thompson was my cousin. We grew up together in Texas. Joined different services, but he wrote me about his team. About you. His voice breaks. He said if anything happened to him, his squad leader would blame herself. Said you were the best officer he ever served under. I knew your name. I knew who you might be when you arrived. The confession hangs in the air like a grenade. I hated you because he died and you lived. I wanted someone to blame. Sarah's legs nearly buckle. The one person who tormented her most carried his own ghost, her fallen brother's blood relative, drowning in the same grief that consumed her. General Patricia Hayes enters with her staff, already briefed. She takes in the scene and decides. Chief Mitchell, we need you. Sarah's expression doesn't change. I left that world behind. Hayes steps closer. Your brothers died so others could live. Honor them by teaching. We're standing up a program for female special operations candidates. Sarah's hand moves to her tattoo, tracing those names. Condition. Master Sergeant Coleman attends every training session. Coleman's head snaps up in confusion. Sarah meets his gaze. He needs to learn what real strength looks like. Sarah accepts with a single nod. No media, no publicity. I train one cycle, then disappear. The transformation begins immediately. She refuses to file complaints against Coleman, telling investigators nothing to report, miscommunication resolved. Her refusal to seek revenge confuses Coleman more than punishment would. The first training session arrives at dawn. Female candidates gather as Sarah enters in nondescript clothing. Coleman sits in back, shame weighing on him. Sarah begins with truth. Your enemy doesn't care about your gender. Bullets don't discriminate. She demonstrates techniques for different body types, teaching leverage over strength. Coleman watches Sarah teach with growing understanding. She shares lessons from her failures without naming herself as protagonist. An operator once dragged her teammate 2 miles through hostile territory. She weighed 130, he weighed 240 with gear. She got him home because heroism is refusing to quit when quitting makes sense. The training addresses unique challenges. You'll be accused of sleeping your way up. When you excel, they'll find reasons it doesn't count. Let them talk. Be so good their opinions become background noise. Coleman's transformation happens gradually. Sarah involves him directly, never humiliating, treating him as teaching assistant. 3 weeks in, Coleman admits, my daughter wants to join the Navy. Sarah's response reshapes his worldview. Then let's make sure she enters a better culture than we did. From that moment, Coleman becomes a different instructor. The change ripples through base culture. By cycle's end, 3 candidates pass special operations selection, the highest success rate in program history. Coleman speaks at graduation, I once thought strength looked a certain way. These candidates and their instructor taught me real strength is harder to see. What would you do if someone humiliated you in front of your peers? Let me know in the comments below. The media descends within days. Someone leaked the ghost story. Publishers offer 6 figures for her tale. Sarah vanishes at dawn, leaving only a note. Heroes are the ones who didn't come home. Let them rest in peace. Security cameras malfunction during her exit window. General Hayes redirects all inquiries. Chief Mitchell served with distinction. Her whereabouts are her business. Coleman becomes keeper of her legacy, refusing interviews. I disrespected someone who could have killed me with a paperclip. She chose to teach me instead. That tells you everything about her character, nothing you deserve in print. 6 months pass. Coleman tends a quiet garden behind the training facility. No signs, just native plants and a metalwork trident with 3 stars, for those who serve in shadows. Wilson tracks Sarah to a Montana gun shop. She works in back, rebuilding a vintage M14. He brings her commendations and back pay. She slides them back, unopened. I have what I need. He mentions program expansion. You have Coleman now. He understands better than he knows. Trust him. When Wilson leaves, she gives him a message for Thompson's daughter, now 17 and wanting to follow her father's path. Have her contact Colonel Martinez at Coronado. Thompson's teammates remember. The Ghost Foundation appears as mysterious donations, training equipment for female candidates, scholarships for Gold Star children, combat trauma research funding. Every gift serves those who serve, particularly the overlooked. Coleman receives an unsigned package, a challenge coin with coordinates. They lead to a Montana memorial. Chen Rodriguez Thompson. Someone maintains this remote place. This is where Sarah runs her daily 3 miles. The female operators she trained achieve remarkable careers. One leads a hostage rescue, saving 30 lives. Another develops combat medicine, reducing battlefield deaths. They carry her lessons forward, teaching that strength comes in many forms. Coleman continues teaching, revolutionized by Sarah's influence. His daughter enlists at 18, entering a transformed military. At her graduation, he spots a familiar figure in civilian clothes. Sarah nods once, then disappears into the crowd. The ghost still watches over those who serve. Torres stands beside her in the shadows, their silent partnership continuing. They become legend, not one ghost but a network, invisible guardians ensuring no warrior stands alone. Do you believe true strength speaks louder than words? Share your thoughts. Years later, as dawn breaks over Montana mountains, Sarah Mitchell runs her eternal 3 miles. Her shadow stretches long against sunrise, ethereal and undefined. She carries 3 shell casings worn smooth by constant handling. Across the country, warriors she trained face battles with tools she gave them. Male and female operators serve side by side, old barriers dissolved by competence and respect. Coleman teaches another generation. The Ghost Foundation continues silent work. Sarah's legacy lives not in books but in lives saved, barriers broken, in the silence between heartbeats where honor dwells. She runs on, a ghost among the living, carrying the dead forward with every step. True strength needs no words. It speaks in actions when no one watches. In choosing the harder path, in service seeking no recognition. The sun rises fully, but some ghosts are too powerful for light to banish. They live in every warrior who serves in shadows, so others may stand in light. As Sarah crests the final hill, 3 birds take flight from the memorial. A cardinal, a blue jay, and a hawk rising together into the infinite sky, their wings catching the first light of day like souls finally set free. For those who serve in shadows, the greatest honor is being forgotten while their work endures forever. Their sacrifice written not in stone, but in the lives that continue because they chose to stand watch in the darkness.